digital maturity reflects your ability to utilize your digital assets to deliver kind of connected, multi-moment, seamless experiences. Yeah, I mean, part of it is understanding that the world really has changed in terms of what's possible, and because what's possible has changed, and because some companies are delivering on what's possible, that sets the bar higher for everyone. And so, there's lots of organizations that are delivering those same kinds of seamless experiences, and more joining the ranks every day.
I mean, I would ask this, and we close this episode off. When it comes to digital transformation and staying up ahead, you obviously can make some preparations or like try to read the scene, but do you make do you assemble a squad that its job to tell you, a digital transformation squad that tells you, okay, so we need a strategic plan for this in years, and a specific amount of years we will need to be prepared for this and that? Or do you adapt to changes as they come? Or do you work with an external partner on these kind of things? What do you think is the approach here? Short term, long term?
I guess all of the above in a way, right? But get ready to deep dive into the world of digital transformation, where we explore the latest trends, innovations, and challenges shaking up industries. Join us as we decode the secrets behind successful digital strategies and hear from experts who are at the forefront of disrupting the status quo. In each episode, we'll unravel the mysteries of the digital realm and uncover the hidden opportunities that lie within. From artificial intelligence to blockchain, from automation to cybersecurity, we'll leave no digital stone unturned. But hold on tight, because this podcast isn't your average tech talk. We're injecting a hefty dose of wit and humor into every episode, making learning about digital transformation an absolute blast. So if you're ready to embrace the digital revolution with a smile on your face, tune in to the Digital Disruption Podcast and get ready to be entertained, informed, and inspired. Don't miss out on the fun. Subscribe now and join us on this wild digital journey.
To another episode of the Digital Transformation Disruption Podcast. Or we need a shortcut. We need definitely a shortcut for the introductions. Digital Disruption Podcast. Anyway,
welcome to Disrupt, a digital transformation podcast. No.
Honestly, something like this would be amazing. How are you, Patrick?
I'm doing well. How are you, Daoud?
I'm all good. All right, let's jump right into it. In our last episode, for people who are following up with us, we talked about what is digital transformation and, what is not, and what beyond COVID, and the holistic, approach of digital transformation. We did leave on, I wouldn't say a cliffhanger, but we did leave on a question, and this episode is all about answering these questions and following up the thing that we didn't answer in the last episode, which will lead with what is digital maturity and what is Google framework for that. And we'll follow up with a note or an observation that you did, which was that Amazon and Netflix set the bar for personalization so high up. And everyone is now feeling the heat and struggling especially with digital transformation and how it brings, as we said in the last episode, sales, marketing, product, and all the company together to achieve its results. And then will lead to more enterprise, questions that help people like the CMOs, the busy CMOs, the directors, the VPs, to help them implement digital transformation and move on with move on and being ready for regulations and hits that come one after another in an extremely fast-paced digital world. So welcome aboard, and let me just start with a simple question that is never simple. What is digital maturity?
Sure. Thanks, Daoud. Digital maturity, there's a few different ways that we can think about it, but ultimately it comes down to this ability to deliver on the promise. Or let me start over. Let me put it this way. Digital maturity reflects your ability to utilize your digital assets to deliver kind of connected, multi-moment, seamless experiences. So, in a sort of ideal world, that would be from the moment your brand starts interacting with a potential customer, right? So, whether that's through, if they saw you through an organic search, through a paid search, or if you delivered, prospecting and awareness campaigns through programmatic media, however you first reach that, potential customer, ideally you would start to have a connected set of experiences, messaging, and contact points with that user, right? So digital maturity reflects your capability to do that. One framework that we like to use is Google's digital maturity framework. It is very measurement and digital marketing focused and digital experience focused, so it can be useful for our purposes. And they use kind of a 4-step framework from nascent to multi-moment. So nascent being at the least mature end of the spectrum, and multi-moment being sort of the ideal state, the fully mature digital organization. And I can kind of walk through the details of the 4 stages. So the 4 stages are nascent, emerging, connected, and that multi-moment ideal, right? And, nascent organizations, are characterized by this kind of a media-centric kind of approach. So they're leveraging data in their external tools. They're, oftentimes buying through siloed platforms, utilizing the data available to them through the platforms, not leveraging their own first party and zero party data. So relative high level of fragmentation and siloing across their marketing efforts, sales, commerce, lead generation, and delivery, right? So you would say, kind of fragmentation is, if I had to boil nascent down to a single word, it would be fragmentation or silos. In terms of the second step of emerging, so these are organizations who have started to, connect their own data with automated type buying solutions. So leveraging potentially more sophisticated, algorithms in their media buying platforms, still kind of, single channel optimization focused rather than kind of holistic, impact of media focused, or impact of digital experiences, if you wanted to, include more than just marketing. But so emerging would say you would have more connection between systems, but certainly not connection across your ecosystem. Then data-centric organizations, they fall into that connected phase, so the third phase. Connected organizations, you have more integrated use of data and, audience activation across media channels. So let's say you do segmentation of your key audience segments within, let's say, your web analytics platform. And then you share those audiences with multiple media platforms in order to have a coordinated, connected targeting and suppression of specific audiences, or you utilize your CDP to do segmentation and then distribute those audiences from a single source of, kind of audience truth or, addressability. So these would characterize more data-centric, connected organizations. And then of course at the most data-driven end of the spectrum, the multi-moment in Google's framework, right? These are where you really have dynamic execution across multiple channels. You're optimizing around you're both optimizing and measuring and delivering experiences around the idea of the individual, customer and business outcomes, right? So you really are trying to the extent possible, and to the extent that you're successful, you have this kind of connected multi-moment view of a customer or prospective customer, and you're delivering and tailoring messaging. The kind of ideal is, right, the right person at the right time with the right message, right, and that kind of multi-moment organization is able to do that most successfully.
Oops, I was on mute. Which leads us to the next point that we said we're going to talk to. Organizations and big organizations like Amazon for e-commerce and Netflix for entertainment, they are, staying in the multi-moment and they're crowned at the multi-moment, and they are not easy to be unthroned from their throne. So how do you think that, organization leaders and people who are higher ups need to think about delivering the seamless experience using personalization within the digital marketing sphere, using digital transformation? As we said, it's a connected thing. So how do you approach this?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is understanding that the world really has changed in terms of what's possible, and because what's possible has changed, and because some companies are delivering on what's possible, that sets the bar higher for everyone. And so, there's lots of organizations that are delivering those same kinds of seamless experiences, and more joining the ranks every day. But I mean, even take a company, pet product and a pet food company like Chewy, right? I mean, talk about a company that delivers a really seamless, multi-moment, end-to-end experience. Extraordinarily fast fulfillment and delivery, exceeding excellent customer service, right? But they have a whole, what you, as a customer, you don't see the amount of infrastructure and process that sits behind those experiences they deliver. They have, they probably have 16 or 20 different fulfillment centers across the United States. They're able to deliver pet food oftentimes within less than 24 hours and usually in well under 3 days, right? Their service is exceptional. Their frontline customer service agents are empowered to fix problems. They don't have to go ask for a manager's approval. They just fix things, right? If your pet dies, they send you flowers, it's it's just amazing, right? So there are, lots of companies that are delivering on this promise. One of the things that Netflix and Amazon share in common is just a massive percentage of their users who are in a logged in state, right? So that most people remain authenticated on Amazon and Netflix at all times and across multiple devices. What could be a better, as long as they're being good stewards of your personal information, what could be a better source of data for customization and personalization than the fact that, they know who you are across, multiple sessions and multiple screens, throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, over time, right? So they have this amazing graph of your engagement or lack of engagement and your behaviors that fuels those experiences. So it's a good lesson for other brands and companies, to the extent that you can leverage the trust that you build with your customers, to have them be in a logged in state, and to, for them to understand that you are trying to deliver better and better experiences to them, a better product to them, a better service to them, and that you are going to be a good steward of their information. You are going to respect their privacy, but that you do, in sincerity, want to provide them with better experiences and products and services. I think, to me, that's at the crux of it.
I mean, I wouldn't say that Amazon are the best when it comes to handling data. They collect a lot of data, and in the forefront of regulations and privacy concerned regulations and entities and organizations like the EU and the US and California and such. So I wanna ask a question that is two parts. The first part is, how digital transformation help you stay ahead but stay in line with the new things, the new transformations that happen on the digital scene? How digital transformation help you address that, and then how do you continue delivering a personalized and seamless experience with the new regulations that focus heavily on consent and privacy and stuff like that? So
sure.
I want to pick your brain on that, and how organizations should approach it.
No, that's a great question. I mean, I'll put all my cards on the table. I'm a huge fan of all of the privacy and consent regulations, and I think consent-based data collection is key to just digital dignity. So, for me, I would like to see our entire industry sort of get on board with putting privacy and consent forward, rather than trying to minimally comply with the letter of the law. I would like to see organizations put privacy and consent at the forefront and kind of lead with that. I do think it would help, cement a higher level of trust. And I also think it would reinforce the fact, the future of kind of personalization and addressability, for that matter, in terms of media, is really in zero and first party data, right? So that, data that you own, but, not only is it important that data be first party data, it's important that data is consented data, that people know you're collecting it and have allowed you to collect it, that it is handled in a privacy-friendly, privacy-safe way, appropriate safeguards for data security, and that you really should utilize that data for the purposes that you said you were going to collect it for. So I think that in terms of digital transformation, right, a challenge is always an opportunity, right? It's kind of how do we respond to the changing landscape, right? We know third-party data collection is going to be impaired even more than it is currently. So we need to find, on the sort of media end of the spectrum, we need to find networks where we can actually find addressable audiences, right? How do we find addressable audiences? Well, retail media networks where we can leverage retailers' own, consented first-party data they can curate audiences on our behalf. Identity solutions that are privacy friendly, like LiveRamp, where you can onboard your own zero and first party data and then sync up with other, publisher audiences in a directly one-to-one addressable manner, where you can both target those audiences and measure the results, right? So they're really first party data. This is why I said earlier in an earlier podcast, digital maturity and data maturity go hand in hand. If you don't have a first party data strategy in today's world, you're already behind the curve in terms of reaching the audiences you want to reach and measuring the impact of your marketing efforts. And then on the digital experience end of the spectrum, to deliver the kinds of seamless, personalized experiences that people expect. Right, those are probably the critical areas where not having a handle on consented first-party data will hurt you, and already is hurting you.
Okay, for the busy people that are listening to us now, if you had to give an advice for them, like the CMOs, the VPs, and the directors of digital, if you have to give them advice in like a minute or so about this exactly, what would it be? Like, where should they focus the most, or the bulk of their force towards to keep the machine oiled and to keep up with, the changes and stuff like that?
Sure. So honestly, the place to start, the ideal place to start is with a current state assessment. So you really need to assess your organization's capabilities. Again, in the earlier podcast, we talked about these kind of 4 pillars of your technology, your data infrastructure, your processes, and your people, right? You need to do an honest assessment of all 4 of those pillars, in relation to the business objectives you're trying to achieve, into the, against the changes are here today and are likely to come tomorrow, right? So, you need to kind of take into consideration that the larger context we're all operating in, regardless of your business objectives. And you need to find, where do you stack up? Where are the gaps? Where have you kind of solidly integrated technology into your organization, right? Maybe your cloud data warehouse is in really good shape. Like the data quality is awesome. You've got really, solid, first party data, but maybe it's not integrated in all the places it should be. So you're not actually utilizing that data to deliver either on the marketing end or on the digital experience end, customer engagement end, right? So there's things you need to do to improve that. Or maybe you have a number of ad tech tools that are really powerful, but maybe your team they're really good, diligent people, but maybe you haven't taken the steps to give them the skills and experience they need to fully utilize those tools. Like maybe they don't know how to properly do programmatic media buying in an enterprise DSP, but you've bought the tool, so you expect them to use it. Well, now you're missing a key pillar there on the roles and skills side. Well, how do you fill then? So once you do that in all of those different pillars, right, then kind of how do you score today? Where are the gaps? Every gap is an opportunity, right? And so then you create a roadmap to address those issues. That's the place to start. So that you can really be, properly kind of strategic about it.
All right. I mean, when speaking about strategic, in the last episode, we talked about, the move of digital transformation from being from brick and mortar to digital into more sophisticated, more interconnected, more deep concepts and workings, the inner workings of digital transformation. I would ask, when addressing also the enterprises and stuff like that, what is the impact that the pace of the change for digital enterprises? Wait, let me phrase it much better. How do enterprises keep up with the ever-changing scene and digital transformation and digital maturity now?
This is the $1 million question. It's a great question, and I guess I'll give you my my cheeky answer first, which is you can't. Right? There's no possible way that you can stay ahead of change. Right? In a one and done fashion. So you have to. So you have to make some calculated, educated bets, right? So because you can't do strategic organizational change every 6 months, right? Like these are major initiatives, right? So what you need to do is make some calculated bets, right? You know what the current landscape is. And if you've done a really robust assessment, then you know where your gaps are. But you also need to make some calculated bets on what tomorrow is going to look like, right? So we know third-party cookies are going away. We know first-party data, zero-party data is going to become much more important over time. It's already really important. It's going to be more important, right? We know that certain trends in digital marketing are proliferating, retail media networks, retail data for media buying, right? Addressable marketplaces, private marketplaces. There's a number of different areas. The embedding of AI into, across sort of digital tools, right? So there's a number of things we can sort of make calculated bets on. The more we can incorporate those sort of long-term calculated bets into our strategy and execution of digital transformation, the more likelihood that what we put in place is going to be more robust and future-facing and durable, right? So, and some of those bets are not likely to reverse course. So I think first-party data, zero-party data they're going to remain important, right? They're not going to go away. Privacy and consent they're not going anywhere. If anything, it's going to become more robust, right? So if we can put in place as part of our digital transformation efforts, things that address, things that we are likely to be robust long-term trends, then our efforts are likely to also be robust and future-proof, right? But still, that doesn't mean, this podcast is about disruption, right? So we don't know what's around the blind corner that we don't see coming, right? And that's something. And if we don't see something coming, we can't really make a calculated bet on that. And so you have to be nimble. I mean, you have to remain open, curious, flexible, adaptable, right? As an organization, and obviously the larger the organization, the more people, the more infrastructure, the harder it is to remain adaptable and flexible. But you can do things, I think, again, like cloud infrastructure is a great example of when designed properly and with the right middleware and, development processes that can, how you design your infrastructure can help you be more flexible as well. But flexibility and adaptability is crucial. Or you have to be prepared to, you do efforts today, and then 5 years down the road, you're going to have to do the effort again, right? If you create a rigid solution only for today, we already know what that means. Change is inevitable. And so whether it's 4 years from now, 3 years from now, or 8 years from now, it's going to be out of date. So it's better to build a certain amount of flexibility and adaptability into your solutions.
Or have someone on the inside to give you insider trading info. Whenever new laws are coming
That's
out.
always good. That's always good. We have Nostradamus on our payroll, so.
I mean, I would ask this, and we close this episode off. When it comes to digital transformation and staying up ahead, you obviously can make some preparations or like try to read the scene, but do you make do you assemble a squad that its job to tell you, a digital transformation squad that tells you, okay, so we need a strategic plan for this in years, and a specific amount of years we will need to be prepared for this and that, or do you adapt to changes as they come, or do you work with an external partner on these kinds of things? What do you think is the approach here? Short term, long term?
Yeah, I mean, I think all three could. I mean, I guess all of the above in a way, right? But I do think having some. I mean, it's hard to invest in a team of people whose only role is sort of innovation. So I think on the other hand, you can have, like, as part of people's functional roles, like certainly in at certain points of leadership, right, on your technology team, your information, your data teams, your marketing teams, you would expect people to be proactively surfacing short, medium, and long range trends, right? That, some of which, may be sort of faddish, right? Flash in the pan and then they're gone. But some things we know, as we start to see things pick up traction or are disruptive in ways that we know are likely, are unlikely to go backward, right? I think you do need people in leadership roles who can point to those changes and say, no, this is here for the long haul, right? We need to be prepared for X, Y, and Z. This is an opportunity. This is a challenge. We need to be preparing for this, right? So you do need to have that sense, that idea of short, medium, and long-term priorities, right? These are urgent. These are necessary and urgent. These are sort of things we need that are on the immediate horizon, but not necessarily like an emergency, right? And then these are longer-term trends that we know are happening and we need to be aware of. And that can help you build your roadmap as well, right? As when you do your assessment, you identify gaps and opportunities. Well, then when you create that roadmap, you can align that to the kind of time horizon to decide which ones are most critical, which ones are most impactful. And I know we are going to cover this maybe next time, but it does reinforce that need for kind of a alignment, at the kind of, CEO level in a way, right? We're talking about like levels of change that require a kind of an organizational commitment. At the end of the day, just to tease that topic now, right? We're talking about organizational change and change management, which is no easy thing. So, yeah.
Dear CEO, you're losing your seat. The next episode, we're going to change the whole management.
Nice.
I guess that's it. And yeah, definitely this is what we're going to be covering alongside other things in the next episode. So if you are interested in knowing if you keep your seat or not, just stay tuned. And and in the kind of thing, we will be addressing any new changes that happen that organizations should be looking forward to, or things that you should plan forward ahead to down the road, be it short term or long term. We will definitely be addressing these kind of things and like new regulations and stuff like that. So we want to be the source for all of the digital transformation disruptions that will happen. So stay tuned. If you want to know if there is something that you are not seeing, but you should definitely take care of or keep an eye on to address in the future, we will be addressing it here. So I guess on that note, we peace out, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, Daoud. See you next. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Digital Disruption Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of digital transformation and gained valuable insights to help navigate the ever-changing landscape. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us on our website, e-CENS.com, or connect with us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and stay tuned for more exciting discussions on the forefront of digital innovation. Remember, the future is now, and it's time to embrace the power of transformation. Thanks for listening, and until next time.